How on earth did we get here? I remember a couple of years ago when Mainoo made his debut for Manchester United, his Premier League debut against Everton, where he started returning from injury under Eric Ten Hag. And man, oh man, I think everybody was excited for what was to come for the young player, not just for Manchester United, but even for the England national team. And fast forward a few years, we are hearing conversations and rumours and reports about Manchester United potentially not having a place for him in the squad, in the midfield, under Ruben Amorim, with nothing but a potential £45 million price tag. We've got so much to talk about, so make sure you hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you're new here. Now, let's start with, for me, the biggest part of the conversation is that Ruben Amorim, after the Fulham game on the weekend, said that Kobbie Mainoo is in direct competition with Bruno Fernandes. Now, Bruno Fernandes has rejected a move this summer, potentially could leave next summer, has now been shifted into playing into the central midfield role, despite the fact that I think he is always better in the 10, and when he does play in the central midfield role, I think it's better when he shifts there in-game rather than starting there. But now Kobbie and him are in direct competition, and I don't think Kobbie Mainoo should be the direct competitor for Bruno Fernandes, just because I think Bruno Fernandes should not be the central midfielder. With saying that, you don't go out and buy two 10s and then displace your captain from the starting 11. So it seems like Ruben Amorim will persist with this idea of Bruno Fernandes in the central midfield, pairing with someone like Casemiro or Ugarte, rather than pairing him with a Kobbie Mainoo. Now, I think a lot of people are confused about Kobbie Mainoo. What kind of midfielder is he? Where does his strengths lie? Where does his ability lie? Where does his weaknesses lie? How can Manchester United utilise him? Well, before we actually get to that, I just want to make one quick point. I think we should have honest conversations with ourselves as fans, especially as Manchester United fans, regarding how Manchester United's academy players over the last decade, how their futures have turned out at the club. Now, you look at the last decade or so, I think some of the best players to come through Manchester United academy and have some involvement in their first team potentially won't be here by the end of the summer transfer window. And I'm thinking of particular names like Marcus Rashford, like Scott McTominay, like Kobbie Mainoo, and you think of all the other great quality products that Manchester United have produced. Carrington have produced a lot of quality that play in the top 5 European leagues, but none of them are actually playing at Manchester United. And in Manchester United, we know that there's this record of a academy player in every single matchday squad, and that will probably continue even under Ruben Amorim. But I think what use is those academy players in the matchday squad if they are not being played? Now, 2 games into the Premier League season already, and Manchester United have had 0 academy graduates either in the starting 11 or coming off the bench. Now, Ahmad, I don't class him as a Carrington academy graduate. I think he is a Carrington player, but not a academy graduate, because he did not graduate through the ranks of Carrington. But the likes of Kobbie Mainoo, of course, is a graduate, and there's other players on the bench as well over the last 2 games that were unused subs. So we need to have an honest conversation about why Manchester United are not championing and platforming the products that they're producing, and rather in maybe recent years looking at them as a quick asset to sell for PSR reasons. Now, we've seen a lot of teams in the Premier League do this. Now, Manchester United aren't the only one that are kind of entertaining this idea. We've seen quite a few teams do this, obviously most notably Chelsea, who have sold a lot of Cobham players over the last couple of years under Clearlake and Blueco. But I just want to speak about Kobbie Mainoo, because so many people, I think, fail to understand or struggle to understand where his strengths lie, how Man United can utilise him. I think we've seen the best of Kobbie Mainoo in his first 12 or so months of his senior career under Eric Ten Hag. But even at the Euros for England, he was one of England's best players. I think one of England's most important players to get to the final, having just jumped from, he didn't even go through the under-21 route at England. He jumped straight to the senior team. He plays well in a midfield 3 and a midfield 2. This idea that he can't play in a midfield 2, I think, is blasphemy, because we've seen him do it. We've seen him do it under Eric Ten Hag. We've seen him do it for England. Now, I think he can be the midfield 2 that can be the ball progressor. He's someone that's comfortable on the ball. He can drive through the middle. Like, for example, against Fulham, I thought Kobbie Mainoo would come on. I was at the game at Craven Cottage, and I saw him warming up for a lot of the game, and I thought he would come on just because of how much space there was in the midfield to drive through. Man United's midfielders, Bruno, Casemiro, weren't really driving with the ball, and I thought that was a perfect game for someone like Kobbie Mainoo, or anyone of that ability to be able to do that. Now, Kobbie Mainoo, we've seen, number one, how well he can read the game, especially going forward forward. We've seen I think he's smart on the ball. He's intelligent. He can link up well. We've seen all of that. Now, if you are wondering where this news has come from, obviously over the last 48 hours or so, there has been conversations about Kobbie Mainoo and his future. And just this morning, The Athletic posted an article. I'm going to post it here. I'm going to go through it. Laurie Whitwell mentioning about his future. Now, there was a part that stood out to me. Number one, Laurie Whitwell said, beside from the pursuit of Carlos Baleba, a dream target who is considered too expensive to prize away from Brighton this year, United's summer-long search for a midfielder has focused more heavily on identifying an alternative to Bruno Fernandes, someone who would play alongside either Casemiro or Ugarte, one who would in effect replace Mainoo within the squad as per Amarim's latest description of his role. So Manchester United, venturing out to sign Carlos Baleba or other targets like Carlos Baleba is because they want someone to directly replace Bruno in the team. So this idea that Kobbie Mainoo is competing with Bruno, as per the manager's words, I don't really believe that, because why would then Manchester United be looking for the direct replacement of Bruno Fernandes when it's reportedly meant to be Kobbie Mainoo? Now, that is the first part. Now, reportedly Bayern Munich have been interested in him, as have Bayer Leverkusen and former manager Erik ten Hag. But Mainoo reportedly is thought to prefer a move away from England rather than in the Premier League. He's explored options in Germany, even when he was coming through United's academy. Now, this is where the price tag conversation comes from. When Chelsea inquired about his availability during the January window, Stamford Bridge officials were quoted 70 million asking price. There is a belief United would now accept around 45 million, potentially even less as the deadline comes closer. 45 million for Kobbie Mainoo in this economy is the worst possible business Man United could ever do. Firstly, I'm not even entertaining the idea of selling him, but if you were to sell him, you're going to sell him for 45 million. I saw Otara go for the same price from Bournemouth to Brentford. I've seen Madueke go for more than that. I've seen Gittins go for more than that. I've seen Mohamed Kudus go for more than that. I've seen a lot of players, even if we talk about players with young potential, I've seen Dean Howson go for more than that after 1 year of experience in the Premier League. 45 million is a horrible price tag. Man United firstly shouldn't even be entertaining this idea, but for 45 million, I feel like we've come to a time now where academy players are just nothing but a tangible asset that can be sold for PSR reasons, for quick cash, for teams that are struggling with cash and struggling with PSR. Now, I have tried my best not to engage in these conversations about Kobbie Mainoo because I just struggle to understand why the club would even entertain the prospect of selling one of their best academy products that have come through the team in the last 5 years. I can't seem to fathom that. I can't seem to understand that. But it makes me very disappointed. If I was to sum up how I feel about it, and if there's a part of me that believes it might happen, because I understand that Kobbie Mainoo wants more game time. I understand that he wants to be in the England squad for the World Cup. He can't go from being in the Euros 1 year to just not being in the World Cup squad 2 years later. Something has to give. So I completely understand why he would entertain the prospect of playing football away from Manchester United. But I'm shocked. I'm disappointed. I'm upset that Manchester United would even ever entertain this. And the fact that Manchester United are struggling to find a way, the manager is struggling to find a way to platform a player like Kobbie Mainoo. I think I'm never of the belief that players always have to play under a manager, but I definitely feel that when your academy has produced a player of a certain ilk, you should always ensure that whatever manager comes in always tries to integrate them and utilize them, because 1 minute it's, oh, he's not agile enough, he's too slow, he's this, he's that. Kobbie Mainoo might be a lot of things, or he might lack some stuff. He might lack a lot of stuff. But in my opinion, when you are as good as him on a technical level, I think that those things can be mastered. And when you are partnered with someone that is as good or even better, that makes up for what you lack, that is when you create a great midfield partnership or a trio. Now, we can go on and have these conversations about Manchester United's midfield too and how it's not going to work in the Premier League under Ruben Amorim. But I think the real conversation we need to have is how Manchester United keep letting academy products just slip away. And I really do think Kobbie Mainoo might be the final straw for a lot of people. Let me know your thoughts down below. How do you feel about this? Do you think Man United should actually sell Kobbie Mainoo? Because I did a stream the other day and it seemed like it was split opinions in the comments section about it. I'm upset. I'm not gonna lie. I would be very, very upset if Manchester United sold him. But I'd be happy for him because I know that he's gonna go on and become something great. But let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here.